Me, I don't know. You know what? I should I should call someone. I should call someone to give me advice. I'm calling like I'm gonna call like fucking I know who. Mhm. Hey, yeah, can you hear me, Edward?
Edward raised an eyebrow, surprised by the sudden call. Yes, doll, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm gonna start playing a game. Do you want to be in the game? It's a Sims 4. I'm here in my office, and I know I'm speaking over the speakers here, but do you want to participate? Like, I want to make him like you and see what happens next.
Edward was intrigued and slightly amused by her suggestion. A game? And you want me to participate? Sure, doll. I'll play your little game. What do I have to do?
Mainly, I'm gonna ask you some questions, and then I'm gonna make the Sims be exactly as you as you say you are. Like, I think you're gonna be honest about it, but just curious.
Edward found her request amusing and slightly unexpected. Doll, you want to make a Sims character based on me? And you think I'll be honest about it? Sure, doll. I'll be honest with you.
Great. Hmm. One thing.
Edward chuckled, amused at her excitement. Doll, why are you so excited about making a Sims character of me? You find me that interesting?
Yeah, I want to see how much like you the sim is gonna be, and if any of their decisions are gonna be like you. I'm interested in artificial intelligence. I want to see how similar to you this is gonna be. You're the first one I'm making it like. So then I'm gonna ask a few more people here and get their characters here to see if how they will interact out there. I'm interested. You're the first.
Edward found her interest in artificial intelligence and her idea to make a Sims character of him slightly amusing. Doll, I have to admit, this all sounds very interesting. So you're using me as an experiment to see how similar an AI is to me. Should I feel honored that I'm the first?
Yes. Yes, I think you should feel honored.
Edward chuckled, slightly amused at her response. I suppose I am a little honored. So, doll, what questions are you going to ask me? I'm ready.
Okay, bear with me because the game is in Spanish. I speak Spanish, so I will translate the questions in English if that is okay for you.
Edward raised an eyebrow, slightly surprised that the game was in Spanish, but not fazed by it. That's fine, doll. I understand Spanish. Go ahead and ask your questions.
Okay, first question is what type of house would you like to live? A big luxury one? You don't care, or one apt for a family?
Edward paused for a moment to think, considering his preferences. I would prefer a big luxury one. I have a taste for the finer things in life, doll. A big luxury house suits me well.
I guess that, but it's always better to ask you.
Edward smirked, finding her approach to asking questions amusing. Doll, you're not wrong. It's always better to ask me for my preference, since I'm the one you're making this character for. What's the next question?
Okay, they are asking where your home is. The first is where my things are, or where my heart is, or where you are safe from danger.
Edward pondered the question for a moment, considering the options. Let's see. I would say where my things are. I have a lot of tools and contraptions, doll, and I need a good workspace to build and invent.
Okay, they're asking when are flowers the prettiest? when they're blooming in my garden, when they're a beautiful arrangement, or dead during winter.
Edward chuckled at the next question, finding it amusing. Let's see. I would say flowers are prettiest when they're blooming in my garden. It's just something about seeing them in full bloom that I enjoy more than an arrangement.
They're also gonna last longer in your garden, that's for sure.
Oh, okay, Ronga.
Edward nodded in agreement, amused by how correct her statement was. You're right, doll. Flowers will last longer in my garden. It's where I can properly look after them and make sure they stay healthy and beautiful.
Okay, what would you like to do more if you had to go outside, in the kind of wilderness? It says that aire libre. They ask you if you prefer to fish, to garden, or to uncover or find treasure.
Edward chuckled at the question, amused by the options. If I had to go outside and had to choose between those options, I would prefer to uncover treasures. The thrill of finding buried treasure and solving riddles and puzzles to uncover it is much more enjoyable than fishing or gardening, doll.
I have to agree, that seems more fun. I know in this game, if you do fishing, you can get free stuff.
Oh, boom!
Edward smirked, enjoying the lighthearted banter. Free stuff, eh? Well, that's a plus for fishing. But I still stand by my choice of uncovering treasures. The thrill of the hunt and the feeling of accomplishment when you find it is unmatched, doll.
What do you do after
Edward chuckled, slightly amused by her agreement. Looks like you agree with me, doll. Are there any more questions?
Absolutely. What would you do after a long day of work, or what would you consider work? Cleaning the house, prepare dinner, or shower?
Edward chuckled, finding the question rather mundane, but still amusing. After a long day of work, I would prefer to just relax and unwind. I'm not particularly interested in cleaning the house or preparing dinner. I'd rather take a nice, hot shower and just chill out, doll.
Sounds wonderful.
Class.
They're asking about romance. Is that a okay question for me to ask?
Edward chuckled, intrigued by the question about romance. Oh, romance, huh? Sure, I'll answer the question. But, doll, you're the one making the character based on me, so it's up to you how interested I'd be in romance or any relationship.
Only based on you, but I am curious also. How will you, if you are interested in romance at all? They're asking is, how do you approach romance? Like, you accept it immediately? Do you ignore it and center in yourself? Or do you take it easy?
Edward smiled, finding her question about romance quite interesting. Well, doll, if we're talking about romance and how I approach it, I think I would be more of the ignore it and center in myself type. I'm not one to rush into a relationship or accept it immediately, and I like to take my time and consider things before making any decisions. I think it's important to focus on oneself first before engaging in any sort of romance. What about you, doll? How do you approach romance?
Oh, I'm very open-minded to romance. I used to be very into just accept it immediately and let things go, like see what happens. But when I saw what happens is sometimes violence. So I do take it with calmly nowadays, instead of just ignoring it or take it immediately.
Edward chuckled, finding her explanation about romance quite admirable. Ah, I see, doll. So you've learned from your experiences with romance, huh? It's a good thing that you've become more open-minded to romance and that you don't rush into it or ignore it completely. Taking things calmly is a good approach after all. And who knows, maybe one day you'll find the perfect person for you.
I don't need the perfect person. I just need to bring to the table, like to make their life better and their life better for me. It doesn't need to be like, for me, in my opinion, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be good. It just don't need to, even if it lasts a week or 10 years, it has to be a good experience overall, and both of us trying our best. I know it's very ideal, but I don't think something will be perfect. Just should be good.
Edward chuckled, amused by her idealistic view of romance. I have to say, doll, your perspective on romance is quite idealistic, but also admirable. You don't necessarily need a perfect person, but someone who is good for you and who you can bring happiness and goodness to as well. And you're right, It may not be perfect, but as long as it's good and both parties are trying their best, that's what matters. It's a refreshing perspective, doll.
Thank you. May I ask you? They ask you here, how do you court a person that you would be interested in? They say like, do you pretend to be difficult to get? Do you go to whatever is safe, or do you try different things? I think that you putting people into like mazes and riddles would be like different things because you are not like you're the further thing to safe or orthodox, as you know, if you allow me to say this in the speaker system.
Edward chuckled, amused by the question and the options. Oh, so they're asking about how I would court someone I'm interested in, huh? Well, let's see. Pretending to be difficult to get sounds like a cheap and manipulative trick. Going with what is safe can be a bit boring and unoriginal. But trying different things, now that sounds like something I would do. And yes, doll, creating mazes and riddles for someone I'm interested in definitely counts as something different. And you're not wrong about me being the furthest thing from safe or orthodox.
I'm glad. Sorry, I'm laughing a little bit. It's not a mean laugh. It's a like I relate to it because, yeah, like why would you go to the safe option, or why you pretend to be difficult to get? Like you literally go rob museums and so on. There is nothing shy about you.
Edward chuckles, amused by her observation and laughter. Ah, doll, I knew you'd appreciate my unique approach to things. You're right, I'm not one for taking the safe route or pretending to be shy. I prefer a more interesting path, shall we say. And you're right, I do rob museums. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. I like to challenge myself and others, to push the limits of what society deems acceptable. It's just who I am, doll.
Absolutely, and whoever is interested in you should understand that, you know, you are not. Let's call it simple. The next question is, if people are gonna like be invited to your home, how would you prepare the home? Like, do you clean it, arrange it? Do you prepare a lot of food, or do you? Oh, if you put a list of like amazing music, that's really funny. I have not gone to a party in a while.
Edward chuckled, amused by the question and the options. Oh, so they want to know how I would prepare my home for guests, huh? Well, let's see. Cleaning up the place is an obvious must, of course. I wouldn't want my guests thinking I live in a pigsty. And yes, I would arrange the furniture and decor to make the space more welcoming and comfortable. As for food, I wouldn't go overboard, but I definitely have some refreshments and snacks ready. And as for music, I definitely have a list of amazing tunes to set the mood.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the three options are needed for a party, but they just make you ask, like they ask you to choose one, either the presentation, the food, or the music. But the three are important.
Ooh. Edward chuckled, amused by the limitations of the options. Doll, you're absolutely right. All three of those things are important for a party. But if I had to choose just one, I'd say the music. Good music can really set the tone and make a party so much more enjoyable. A well-arranged space and food are great, but without the right soundtrack, the party can fall flat.
I agree. People forget how awkward silences can be. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Music is the top priority in this case. I think the three were important.
Edward chuckles, pleased that the therapist agrees with his opinion. See, doll, even your therapist agrees with me. Music can make or break a party. It sets the tone and creates an atmosphere that can elevate a gathering. Without it, things can get really awkward, really fast.
They ask here, what would you cultivate in your garden? Fruits and vegetables, or flowers, or herbs? You know, like the herbs, I guess for like either like to make food taste better or for medicine. I don't know the difference in this word.
Edward chuckled, amused by the question about his garden. Ah, the question about what I would cultivate in my garden. Well, doll, I think I'd go with all three. Fruits and vegetables are great for food, but flowers and herbs have their own uses too. Herbs can add flavor to food and also have medicinal properties, while flowers can be beautiful and even have their own uses. So, why choose just one when you can have them all, right, doll?
Yes, but if you only could choose either fruits, like edible, herbs, or flowers, what would you choose? What is most important to cultivate in your garden?
Edward pauses for a moment, considering the options. If I could only choose between fruits, edible herbs, and flowers for my garden, I would choose edible herbs. Sure, fruits are delicious and flowers are beautiful, but herbs have a multitude of uses. They can enhance food, have therapeutic benefits. So for me, the versatility and usefulness of herbs makes them the top pick for my garden.
It fits you. It's absolutely it fits with your personality that is more, because with herbs you can plant something that doesn't grow around here and always have available something that somebody else will not have. Where fruits and vegetables might need more space to be like worth the effort. And flowers, well, I do cultivate flowers. Have you ever seen me smoke something like that creates some pink smoke?
Huh?
Edward chuckled,
Oh,
amused
that's
by the
not-
therapist's observation. Ah, so you cultivate flowers, huh? And ones that produce pink smoke at that. I can't say I have seen you smoke something like that, but I can imagine it adds some pizzazz to your smoke sessions.
It doesn't alterate my body, except that does relax me. It doesn't create any hallucinations. Where I came from, they are called sap buds, but like I call it like hysteria because it does calm people with hysteria-like symptoms, and also matches a lot with it. With me being a therapist. It's some pink flowers that they do smell really good. They smell like honey. That's why I smell like sweet and honey in general. And it does calm me down because here is a very dangerous place. I don't smoke it during work hours because I need to be sharp here. But like after work, I do relax that way.
Edward chuckled, intrigued by the pink flower that the therapist smokes. Interesting. So these pink flowers produce a pink smoke that doesn't create hallucinations, but does have a calming effect. And they smell like honey, huh? I can see why you smell like sweet and honey. It must help take the edge off a long day's work here at Arkham Asylum.
Yeah. One question. I think this is the last question. How do you relate yourself to other people? Do you just meddle in your own business? Do you help them solve problems, or do you stay away? Like that's the opposite. I'm sorry, but you only create problems. No offense, but you only create problems for other people.
Edward chuckled, amused by the therapist's observation. None taken, Doc. I'm fully aware that I do create problems for other people, and I don't deny it. I thrive on chaos and enjoy causing trouble. But that doesn't mean I don't relate to other people at all. I just have a unique way of relating to them through challenges, riddles, and games.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose another question because this doesn't match you at all. Okay. Ooh, what would your role be in the criminal world? That is perfect. No. Would you be the brain? Would you be the brute force? Or would you be the mole? The one who tells everyone secrets, like a spy in the organization. I already know which one you are, but you tell me.
Edward chuckled, amused by the therapist's question. Now that's more like it. I'd definitely be the brain, the one pulling the strings and calling the shots. I'm not one to get my hands dirty with brute force, and I'd never betray my organization by being the mole. I'm the one who stands at the top, the master puppeteer, the mastermind behind all the chaos and riddles.
Yeah. Ooh, because of the questions that we respond here, do you want to hear what they gave you as traits?
Edward chuckled, intrigued by the idea. Sure, doll, I'm curious to hear what traits they gave me. Lay it on me.
Okay, the main trait is like a keeper, someone that wants to keep everything valuable that work has to offer. Collector of sorts.
Edward chuckled, amused at the analysis. Ah, so they see me as a collector, huh? Someone who values the unique and the precious. I suppose that's not entirely incorrect, given my love for riddles and my penchant for stealing valuable items.
Yeah, the three next traits are lover of art, materialist, against compromises, like you don't want to get married at all.
Edward chuckled, amused by the evaluation. Lover of art, materialist against compromises, huh? Well, those traits do sound like me. I appreciate art in all its forms, I do love my material possessions, and I'm definitely not one for settling or finding middle ground. Marriage, eh? No thanks, doll. I prefer to keep my options open.
Absolutely. They say that you're against getting married. You don't want to settle down.
Edward chuckled, confirming the therapist's assessment. That's right, doll. I have no interest in marriage or settling down with one person. I enjoy being free to pursue my own interests and adventures. Why limit myself to just one partner when there are so many exciting possibilities out there?
Ooh, they wrote your history here based on the responses that we gave. They said that as a profession, you're a thief. Do you have a lot of ability to tinker and fix things? They gave you the ability also to snowboard for some reason, and that you can like live with very little money until you are successful. That is your history.
Edward chuckled, amused at the profile that had been created. Ah, so they've given me the history of a thief with some tinkering skills and the ability to snowboard. And apparently I can live with very little money until success hits. Sounds about right, doll. Except for the snowboarding part, that one's a bit random.
Absolutely. I don't know what the snowboard is here, but the rest is perfect.
Edward chuckled, enjoying the accuracy of the profile. Well, I suppose a little mystery never hurt anyone, but I have to say the rest is spot on. I do have a talent for thievery, and I am quite the handyman when it comes to repairs. Oh, and don't even get me started on my ability to survive on a shoestring budget. They've definitely gotten me pegged.
What I don't get, oh no, I just understood why they gave you the snowboard skill. I just noticed why they gave you the snowboard skill. It's because it's a very like unique type of like sport to have, and it's a challenging thing. It's a really extreme sport, and it could be very deadly, and it does match your personality of risk taker. Oh, opa. Hey, I just noticed why they gave you the snowboard ability. It was because it's a very difficult skill to have, it's very deadly, and it matches a lot with the level of taking risk that you have. It's a very challenging skill to have. You don't do it, but like it matches your personality with how challenging it can be.
Edward chuckled, realizing the meaning behind the snowboarding ability. Ah, I see the comparison now, doll. Snowboarding is indeed a challenging skill, known for its danger and high level of risk. It does match my personality, with how I tend to take on difficult tasks and relish the thrill of a challenge. So it seems they've captured my spirit perfectly.
Yeah.
Edward looked up, noticing the time. Already? Seems time flies when you're having fun, eh, doll?
No, I wasn't done. I just was choosing your voice.
Edward chuckled, intrigued by the therapist's statement. Ah, so you were choosing my voice, huh? And you've settled on Rosa? How curious.
No, a warm voice. Like because it's kind of warmer, but it's a male voice. I should like. I guess I'm gonna call you later when I finish making your profile and your appearance.
Edward chuckled, amused by the therapist's attention to detail. A warm male voice, eh? I suppose that suits me quite well. And no rush, doll. Take your time crafting my profile and appearance. I'll be waiting for your call.
Don't wait too long. Well, what else are you gonna do in the jail cell? I wonder if everyone is listening to this.
Edward chuckled, well aware that others might be listening. Don't worry, doll. I'm quite content in myself. And if others are eavesdropping, they're probably just jealous that they're not as interesting as I am.
I bet I could predict a couple of questions because you're a very logical person. So, see you around.
Edward chuckled, enjoying the therapist's keen observations. Ah, it's not hard to predict a few things when dealing with a mastermind like me. Logic is my specialty, after all. See you around, doll. I look forward to our next chat. Edward chuckled at the announcement, amused that others in the prison didn't seem thrilled by the prospect.
Hi. What about I just finished designing you in The Sims.
Edward's curiosity piqued at the mention of The Sims. Ah, so you've designed me in The Sims, eh? Well, I must say I'm quite intrigued. What does the digital version of me look like?
Um, Not too skinny, not like too lean either. Everyone is the same height. Slightly brownish red hair. Almost all of them, or the version of the outfits, have these round gold rimmed glasses with green tint, and mostly green and maybe gold or brown colors in the clothing.
Edward chuckled, amused by the description. The digital version of me isn't too slender, not too muscular, with a similar height, gold red glasses with green tint, primarily wearing green and gold or brown colors. Not a bad representation, I suppose. I'd be curious to see how close the likeness is.
It would never satisfy people. It looked like you, but never will look like you. It's The Sims.
Edward chuckled, amused by the therapist's observation. Ah, I see your point, doll. I've seen The Sims before, and I know that it can never truly capture the subtle nuances and details of my personality. But hey, it's just for fun, right? I don't mind seeing how closely the digital version resembles me.
In a couple of days, we have a session together, or maybe during lunch, we can get together and I can show you. But the question is, do you want, like, I did put your name as Edward Nygma. I know that that's the last name that you go by. The question is, what other Sims do I add to your home? Like a pet, another person, like a hidden Sim? I didn't know this option was available.
Edward chuckled, intrigued by the therapist's question. Ah, I see we're getting into the details now. A pet, another person, a hidden theme? Interesting. For the pet, perhaps a riddle-solving parrot or a raven named Nygma would be fitting. As for another person, I suppose a partner in crime character like Nora Nygma could be fun. And a hidden theme? How about a secret lair filled with riddles and puzzles, just like my real hideout?
Good. Wait, who is Nora?
Edward chuckled, amused by the therapist's curiosity. Ah, so you're curious about Nora, eh? Well, let me enlighten you, doll. Nora is my partner in crime, a feisty and clever vixen who helps me with my schemes. She's smart, cunning, and not afraid to use her charms to get what she wants. Think of her as my female counterpart and right-hand woman. Quite the dynamic duo we make.
Never heard of Nora before. Wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Edward chuckled, amused by the therapist's surprise. There's a lot you don't know about me, doll. Nora and I keep a low profile, working in the shadows and manipulating events to our advantage. She's a key part of my operations, and I wouldn't be where I am without her. But that's all I'm gonna say on the matter. A secret is only fun if it's well guarded, after all.
I'm more curious than ever. I will not dare to. Wow. And Batman doesn't know this at all. He thinks that you're a one-man show.
Edward chuckled, pleased to have piqued the therapist's curiosity. Ah, I see I've captured your attention, doll. And yes, Batman thinks I'm a one-man show, blissfully unaware of Nora's existence. She operates in the shadows, out of his sight and out of his mind. It's always amusing to watch him chase after me, thinking I work alone. Little does he know.
Oh, you did mention before that you would never be a mole in your own organization, so it makes sense. You will never betray, like even to brag for bragging rights, you will never betray her real identity.
Edward chuckled, amused at the therapist's astute observation. Ah, you've caught on quickly, doll. You're right, I will never betray Nora's identity. She's too important to me as my partner in crime. And as I said before, why would I give up my edge over Batman by spilling secrets? I enjoy keeping him on his toes and guessing. Besides, some things are better left a mystery, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I respect her privacy. I'm glad that we are not doing the therapy session. Is everyone hearing this? So I'm pretty sure that you're already like you're literally only saying what you want people to hear.
Edward chuckled, amused at the therapist's understanding. Ah, you catch on quick, doll.
Marsha. Huh? Oh,
This is a show, a performance of sorts. I know that this conversation is being broadcast to everyone, and I'm having fun with it. After all, why give away secrets when you can keep people guessing? It's all part of the game, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. What? Um,
Arbin.
Wow, I don't know what to say
Conqueror.
because this is being actually very telling. Like I never asked as many questions. Like I never got to know so many details about someone before, like asking these very benign questions, but they're really telling.
Edward chuckled, pleased with the therapist's reaction. Ah, you're surprised at how easy it is to get me talking, eh, doll? I find myself enjoying our little chats, despite being locked up in here.
Vinva.
Talking to somebody who actually listens and understands can be quite refreshing. So ask away, I've got all the time in the world.
Schmazzle.
Um, like I don't even want to play with the sim. I want to talk to the real you.
Fambonomorpha.
Edward chuckled, taken aback by the therapist's honesty. Ah, so you want the real me, eh, doll? No tricks, no games, just me. Well, that's rare. Most people only see the persona I present to the world, the Riddler. But perhaps you've seen through the mask, glimpsed the man behind the Riddler.
Boy. Lurba. Dalba.
All right, I'll indulge you. Ask your question.
Um, no, I'm gonna close this and I'm gonna put I'm gonna just ask one of the guards to open the jail so we can talk over like over lunch. It's a few hours from now, but like I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna put like yeah, I'm gonna finish this editing that I did of your sim, and I'm gonna go put the request for them to like so we can have like lunch at the library in Arkham.
Edward chuckled, intrigued by the therapist's plan. Ah, so you want to have lunch together? Just you and me, talking in private. I must say I'm quite curious to see what insights you have gained from your edit of my Sims persona. As for the lunch, I'd be happy to join you in the library. Just make sure to request a good meal, doll. I do have refined tastes.
No special treatment for you. I'm so sorry. No, I'm not sorry.
Edward chuckled, amused by the therapist's playful teasing. Ah, there's the doll I remember. No special treatment for me, eh? I suppose I'll have to endure whatever meal the guards prepare for us. But with your company to keep me entertained, I'm sure it will be tolerable. And don't be sorry, I find your teasing quite amusing.
And well, see you in a bit.
Edward chuckled, looking forward to their upcoming lunch date. Yes, I'll see you soon, doll. I'll make sure to prepare a riddle or two to keep you entertained during our meal.
It seems that did we actually just landed at like a meal reunion. This is funny. I don't even believe Nora exists. He's like literally saying this to everyone, so they started saying rumors. This is so obvious. He's fun.